So I'm just going to kind of hand it over to Kyle and he can get started.
All right, welcome. So we just want to go over a couple of things we're going to cover during this. We're going to start off by covering shipping your bike to us. If you are doing that, that won't pertain to everybody, but those of you who are shipping, it'll be good information for you. Packing your bags, the first day check-in and getting to Glenwood, what a typical day of RAGBRAI looks like, and getting home at the end of the week. So, and we will have time in between each one of those sections for questions. So we'll try and answer questions that are pertinent to each section as we get through each part of this. So shipping your bike. We would like you to have your bike arrive on or before July 19th. Reason being for that is that we want to be able to have time to inspect your bike, and UPS and FedEx doesn't consider your bike to be lost unless it has not arrived within several days after the expected arrival. Now, I posted a little picture there. That was a bike that recently came in. It actually came in on a freight truck, not on a UPS truck. But we want to make sure we're going to pull the bikes. We're going to open them up. We're going to inspect them, make sure there isn't any damage to them. If there isn't, then we will put them on the truck in the box, and then we'll take them out to the start town and assemble them when we get out to the start town. If you're going to be shipping your bike home at the end of the week, high country shipping will be an option. They'll be at the end town. Otherwise, another option for you is we will pack your bikes back at the shop the week following RAGBRAI. We do charge $45 to do that. Unpacking your bike at the beginning of the week is included in the charter, but packing it at the end would be an additional charge. The two ways that we ship bikes is either through Total Choice Shipping, or if you have some type of a program through Bike Flights, or you have your own shipping account, you can send us a call tag. You can do that through email, and we can just tag the bike and have them pick it up. We will also pack flying cases. So if you are flying with your bike, we can pack that if you would like us to do that. How to pack for the week. We really advise that you pack everything in Ziploc bags. We try to do our best to keep everybody's stuff dry. However, tents are not completely waterproof. No matter how old they are, if there's a strong windstorm and water can get into your tent. So we really advise that you put everything in Ziploc bags. Each day's outfit works really well because then you have one bag you can grab out of there. You can, you know exactly what you need, and you put your shorts on and your jersey. We also would advise that you bring some type of a day trip bag. Reason being, once you get in, you're going to need to make a trip to the showers. You're going to want to have a small bag that you can have your towel, your toiletries, and a change of clothes in. You're going to want to pack clothes that are also for by day after you're done riding. Because, yes, you're riding a lot, but you're going to get to camp and you're going to have some time to kill, and you probably don't want to hang out in your bike garb. So are there any other things? You guys can use either the chat window or the questions window to let us know if there's any other day trip items. Craig, do you have anything to add to this?
No, I think that's great advice. You know, it's easy to pack in those big gallon Ziploc bags because you just grab them. You know, you take that to the shower with your toiletry bag and your towel. So that's a great way. You know, I would say from the charter standpoint, you know, if there's an impending thunderstorm, we're not going to unpack the bags and throw them out in the rain. Although we do want to get started unpacking the trailer as quickly as we can, and of course this is Iowa, and thunderstorms do flare up, and so we try to be sensitive and smart about that, but occasionally it is possible for your luggage bag to be out in the rain. So that's just good advice that at some point during the week there's potential for everything to get wet.
So back to packing just in general. On our charter, you may bring as many bags as you want. We do require that they are less than 30 pounds, and we want you to be able to carry those at least 2 city blocks. Some of our campsites are very long and narrow, and so your bags may be on one end, and you may have to carry them the length of a football field to where your tent's going to be set up. And so we don't limit how much stuff you bring, but please, for the safety of our staff as we load and unload the truck, please respect that 30-pound limit.
And also the 2 city blocks is just a good way of limiting how much stuff people bring. I mean, I think when you begin to examine whether you can carry it 2 city blocks, that's where you start drilling down on the stuff that's really necessary. So that's also kind of just a basic rule of thumb. Be able to carry your own stuff that far, and you probably don't have too much stuff. So
some things that you should pack: a tent if you are not on our tent service. Sleeping pad. Some people like air mattresses. Some people want a foam pad. Whatever whatever you have currently or prefer. Sleeping bag of some type. Yes, it is hot. However, sometimes it does get cool at night in Iowa. So you will want to bring some type of something to sleep in. At least 3 pairs of shorts and a jersey. Non-riding clothes. A chair if you're not on our tent service, and you may want to bring some nutritionals. And Craig, do you want to talk about?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll go back to the chair. Don't bring an heirloom folding lawn chair. Bring something that you consider disposable. And if it goes a missing, nobody's out of big thing. We do have quite a few chairs that we've collected over the years, and we always throw them in there, but never hurts to bring your own, and you can tie it to your bag or one of your bags. That's all good. I do want to talk about nutritionals this year. My wife and I, April, we rode the RAGBRAI pre-ride with the RAGBRAI officials the first full week in June, and we're in a little different territory this year on RAGBRAI. Southern Iowa, quite frankly, just doesn't have the the infrastructure and the resources that we're kind of accustomed to with a more northerly route. I think that this is probably going to be one of the most scenic, most beautiful RAGBRAIs that you'll have been on in a long time if you're a veteran. But I do want to emphasize that I think that there's going to be a need to carry some additional food. I think it's super important this year that you have at least 2 water bottle cages on your bike. Of course, we're going to have nutritionals available for sale at the bike shop. Matter of fact, we're kind of ramping up for that because I just think that there's going to be fewer food outlets on the ride this year. Many of our pass-through towns, quite honestly, don't even have a generic Casey's, let alone a name brand Casey's. So there's I think there's just a little more onus put on the individual this year for kind of food and nutrition. I may be wrong about that, but it never hurts to be on the safe side. Like I said, we're going to be ramping up what our nutritional, what we carry. So, if you don't have a chance to get there to buy something ahead of time, we will have it here in the store or at our RAGBRAI store. Okay, so go ahead, Kyle.
Things not to pack: computers and other breakables. Just, we are packing everything into a semi-trailer. That is my gear, that is your gear, that is everyone's gear. And so having things that are breakable in your bag, it's just not a good idea, because although we treat your bags the same way we treat our own bags, when you get a pile of stuff as large as it is in the back of our truck, if there's something breakable in there, it's possible that it would break even if we're being as careful as possible. So please leave anything that is breakable at home. Sunscreen, I'm kidding about that. It's going to be hot. It's going to be sunny. Make sure you bring that. Are there any other questions on how to pack or what to pack? I'm not seeing any questions.
We hope you're all hearing us, so we'll just kind of continue on as we go. I think I'm going to interject a little bit on on the packing thing. As far as, well, actually let's just go on to flying into Des Moines if you are. We'll catch up with the other later.
So if you are flying into Des Moines, we can pick you up. We do have an airport pickup service. We have a couple of different people that help us out with that. Reagan, Craig's uncle, and then a few others that we occasionally have help get people from Des Moines to Grinnell. Just let us know that you need that service, and we can make that happen. We do have a lot of really nice hotels and bed and breakfasts in Grinnell. I have created a list of all of those available in Grinnell, and the website is right there. If you want to copy that down, it's also in our RAGBRAI tab on our website. So if you go to bikestoyou.com, go to the RAGBRAI tab, it's one of the options. It says bed and breakfasts and hotels or lodging or something like that. The bed and breakfasts we have two that are within a block and a half of the bike shop, so it works really well if you want to stay there, and they do a great job of taking care of people. Please arrive on Friday, not Saturday. We don't want to have to worry about a plane getting delayed and you arriving in the middle of the afternoon, because if that happens, we're already going to be in Glenwood. So for check-in, the bike shop will be open until 8 p.m. and you can drop off your bikes, you can drop off your bags if you want. This is a great point if you want to test out your day bag. Leave all of your stuff other than what you think you need for sleeping overnight, and take your day bag with you. Bikes will go on the semi-truck, and then bags can be dropped in the shop, and they'll be here waiting for you in the morning. On Saturday, check-in will start at 6:45 and be till 7:45, so you can arrive anytime in there. If you need to park a vehicle, please arrive by 7:30. We're going to be using the Cooper School lot, which is same place that we've been staying the last few years for the vehicles. I have secure location written down. It is, I mean, it's not like monitored security, but we have never had a problem. There is a security guard on duty at all times at the college, and they do periodically run through the parking lot and make sure there isn't any damage to vehicles and things like that. So I will be sending a link to that map when we send out the itinerary letter. The buses will leave at 8 a.m. So that is a little bit later than last year, so people get to sleep in a little bit, but please make sure that we're on time. We always are wanting to leave on time, and that goes for starting at the beginning of the week and every day during the week. Your bikes will go on the semi-trailer from going to Grinnell, or going to Glenwood from Grinnell, and from Muscatine to Grinnell. We put them under packing blankets. Since moving to having a full-on semi-truck, we've had really, really good luck with, we haven't had much for damage on bikes. We don't have to take the pedals off anymore. That being said, if you do want to put pipe insulation on around your bike, that will not offend us. We understand people have nice bikes. They want to keep them nice, and getting packed in very closely to other bikes sometimes is not something they want to see. So if you want to use pipe insulation, that's totally fine. You won't offend us. One more thing for check-in. For those of you who bought credentials through the Grinnell Bicycle Club, those will be available in front of the bike shop on the morning that we head out, so on Saturday morning. So you can stop by there. Check-in will be, for the charter, will be at the door of the buses. So we'll have people standing by the doors, and they'll ask you your name. They'll check you off of the list. You can load your bags on the bus that you ride. Please make sure that you are loading your bags. That's just a way for everybody to know that you know that your stuff went on, and it's not one of our staff's responsibility. I want to make sure that you know it is there, so when we get out there, you know it's there.
It's not a TSA requirement.
Yeah, it's not a TSA. Yeah. If we run out of room under the buses, we will have some extra room on the semi-truck, so don't worry, we will be able to get all of your stuff there. And like I said, check-in will be with the staff as you get on the bus.
If you have any questions about how we're going to be getting out to Glenwood or anything associated with our departure, please type it in the chat or questions window. We'll just kind of follow along, and Kyle and I will be, we'll answer those verbally. But we'll just kind of move on to the next next slide here.
All right. So once we get out to Glenwood, you guys are going to be able to set up camp. Any bikes that are left out at nightfall, they will be loaded onto our truck. They will not be unloaded the following day. So if you would like to, if you only need some stuff, you've got a bag that you don't need, you can load that by putting it on the end of the truck the night at night.
And Kyle said bikes, but he meant to say bags. So,
oh, yeah. Sorry. Bags.
Any bags left out, near the truck get put on is basically what you're saying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I've lost where I was at. There will be water available in the morning. We will leave our water coolers out. The charging station and the coolers with the Gatorade and the beer, those will not be available in the morning. Those will get loaded at night. So please, I always say this, please do not leave your cell phone on the charging station overnight. We shut down the charging station anyways. It's not going to get a charge. That usually happens about 9 or 9:30. So if you're going to bed, please take your cell phone, take it to your tent. You can put it in airplane mode, and it should be good for the morning.
And it should be noted that I think we've got another charging station coming this year, so we have even greater capacity to charge cell phones, even though they're of little use in southern Iowa. So, okay, sorry to interrupt.
Good friend of ours and charter rider, Jim Behrens, is graciously building us one. He's an electrical engineer, so he does a great job. He did a great job on the last one, and I'm sure this next one will be great as well. So the semi-truck will leave at 7:30 a.m. Some people say, gosh, that's early. Trust me, you will have no problem waking up. The sun comes up at that time of year about, 6 o'clock, if not 5:30. Everyone else in the campsite is up, and so they will be breaking down their tents, and you'll have a hard time sleeping in anyways. Contrary to what everybody thought 2 years ago, I do not give wake-up calls. So if you think that I am yelling at you to get out of your tent at 4:30 in the morning, I'm not. Please do not tell everyone that, because I won't. That was our neighbor,
Yeah.
which usually our neighbors are very respectful, and we usually have very good working relationships with all of our neighbors in the campgrounds, and so I can usually walk over and nicely talk to them and get them to be more respectful. During the day, please drink plenty of water. It's going to be hot. That's always the hottest week of the year, it seems like. So make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Make sure you're drinking plenty of other electrolyte drinks as well. Gatorade, Powerade. We'll have TYR in the campsite. You guys all get one of those per day. Please make sure you're drinking that. I have had customers in the past that have gotten really low on their electrolytes, and it's not fun. You gotta make sure you stay hydrated and make sure you take care of yourself.
We contract with Culligan Water to get good quality water to you folks all week long. I promise you we will not run out. That's something that's a priority for us because we know it involves your health. There's going to be, like going back to the nutritional things, we'll have lots of electrolyte tablets at the store, just if as a good replacement, because I think it's going to be important this year to really drink lots of water. I'm going to interject as far as going back to the pre-ride. There's a couple of things that I will point out on take your time and some of the safety issues riding right. I think it's fair to say that there are on most days this year there are fewer pass-through towns, and the pass-through towns that we do have largely have fewer services, and so consequently, when you see water, refill with water, during the day. When you have a chance to eat, I would tell you to definitely eat. The first, quite honestly, until Sigourney, this is a very hilly route. I know that the Register has advertised it as the fourth or fifth flattest or something along those lines, but I'm here to tell you the first several days are plenty hilly. The first 2 days are, in my opinion, very hilly. And I'm in reasonably good cycling shape this year, and it was a tough ride. I don't want to scare anybody off. I'm just saying, be prepared to use all of the gears on your bicycle. These hills are you're in absolute low, and then you're in absolute high, and then you're in absolute low, and then you're in absolute high. Make sure your bike goes into all gears, know how to use them, and make sure your bike is shifting top notch. The other thing I would like to point out is that if your bicycle has 700 by 23 tires and you can go to a 25C tire, I would highly recommend it. The quality of roads is, we have some good roads, but we do have some bad roads, and having a larger profile tire is going to be to your advantage, both for comfort and for lack of mechanical errors. If you run a 25 and you can go to a 28, I would recommend it. I don't necessarily think anybody needs to go higher than a 28C on a road bike, but I'm just going to caution you on the on the 23Cs. There, there's plenty of rough roads out there, and it quite honestly, it just comes down to infrastructure. The difference between cropland and pasture land, and we ride through a lot of pasture land, and there just isn't the resources available for infrastructure. As far as safety and riding right, of course, I know that the old mantra of riding right of the yellow line has long been abandoned by the pack of RAGBRAI, but it still is in your best interest to ride right of the center line, except if you're passing or going around other riders. So I would encourage you to ride right. Many of these roads are older, narrower highways than we're accustomed to. And communicating with the riders around you is extraordinarily important. Even on pre-ride, where we had, I'm going to say 30 to 40 riders on a daily basis, even on pre-ride, we communicated at a really high level so that we weren't running into each other. And if you're not familiar with some of the communication, you can attend a Ride Right seminar at the beginning at the expo. But basically, it's communicating. If you're passing on your left, if you're stopping, rider off, rider on. Pointing out hazards to other folks. Communicating other hazards. Watch for the center crack or pothole or what have you. I just really want to encourage you to communicate with the other riders around you. To that end, if you're riding a bike without a mirror, this is the year to get one. Specifically, if you have a road bike, I would recommend highly the Sprint Tech double mirrors. And you might say, well, why would I need a double mirror? The right-hand mirror will allow you to see the traffic that you've passed and know that it's clear to get in. The left-hand mirror obviously lets you know what's coming up behind you. I ride with a Sprint Tech left-hand mirror, and even on pre-ride, I was wishing that I had the right-hand mirror on my handlebar. It's just like I said, it's just a little bit different territory. Beyond that, I will tell you that there's going to be lots of pie on the ride this year. We're going through, now I'm drawing a blank on Nottoway. We're going through Nottoway again this year. And I repaired bikes in Nottoway. And the last time I rolled into Nottoway with the repair vehicle, I said, "What have you got to eat?" Just trying to figure out how well they had prepared, and they said 800 pieces of pie and free coffee. And I will tell you that 800 pieces of pie was gone in about an hour and 15 minutes. But I stopped in Nottoway and talked to the ladies again, and they're even more ramped up this year for making pies. And so that's definitely a pie stop that you ought to have on your list is the little burb of Nottoway. And at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and talk about severe weather because this is something that's near and dear to me after, several years ago up in Sheldon. Yep. We had a really serious storm that rolled through on RAGBRAI. And I want to say that all of my employees that are in positions of I guess authority or what have you, make it a point to know what the weather is forecasted to do and to watch impending dangerous weather as well. So that goes for Kyle and the RAGBRAI and Style folks, as well as my wife and myself. We keep a really close ear to the ground for dangerous weather, but we cannot possibly inform each and every one of you in a timely fashion, if there is a hazard. We want you to know that the RAGBRAI officials will be will be very, very proactive and cautious in most scenarios. And if there is impending dangerous weather, they'll announce it and they'll direct you to storm shelters. Kyle knows where the storm shelters are in relationship to each one of our campgrounds, and if I should say, provided there is one, and usually there is, but
I think everywhere has them.
Yeah, and he'll know where those are, but it is up to you to make those decisions to go to the storm shelter. I know many of times people, say, should I stay in my tent or should I go? Should I stay in my tent or should I go? That's only a decision that you can make. We're gonna leave that part to you. We're gonna try to provide you with the most information that we can. And then now to Kyle.
So one other thing I want to touch on one thing with severe weather, because it's usually a question we get. What do you do if you're out on the route and something comes up? Honestly, what I would say is walk up to the nearest farmhouse that you find, knock on the door. They're probably going to be there if they're not already sitting out in their front yard. They will probably invite you inside and feed you, and if you stay there long enough, you might end up on their Christmas card list.
Yeah, I definitely, even an Iowa ditch is cover in a tornado or in very, very high straight line winds. So it's barns. You're not going to get in trouble for taking shelter in somebody's old barn if there's a big storm coming up. So at any rate, I think we've said enough.
Know that we have a campsite picked out for you. RAGBRAI is not a race. Enjoy yourselves. We say that we want you to get lost in Iowa. Meet the locals, talk to people, hang out, have fun. The campsite's there for you. You don't have to rush to get there. We have plenty of space in all of our sites. And I will be sending out maps to the campsites sometime, hopefully in the next week or two. I'm waiting for all of the towns to post their maps so that I can then figure out what the rider route is through town and then let you all know what the rider route to our campsite will be. Speaking of that, getting to camp, I will post signs from the beginning of the town to our campsite. When in doubt, please follow the main route. I will follow the main route as long as possible with those signs, but sometimes what ends up happening is people post signs. They'll be posting them 3 miles outside of town. Well, all of our campsites are in the towns. So there's no reason that I'm going to be riding 3 miles outside of town to go find out where the earliest sign is. Ride to the town, you'll see the signs, and they'll direct you how to get there. Please make sure that you're following the BTU signs that look like exactly what's on the screen right now. There are a few other charters that have some other blue signs that may look similar, specifically when you're tired and have ridden 90 miles. And make sure you're following the BTU. Bransel Charters, BBC, has similar blue signs. So make sure you're not following those. Make sure you're following BTU. If you have seen signs and then don't see signs, you might have missed a turn. I try to put several arrows on each corner, but sometimes they get covered up so turn around. You might have gotten off the path just a little bit, or look at the map that I sent you.
Yeah, and I think it's this second to last bullet point that says, if you don't see signs, keep following the rider route. If you've not seen any of the Bikes to You signs yet, keep following the rider route until you do.
Yep.
I mean, that's essentially what you
Yep.
meant by that.
Yep.
Once you begin to see these signs, if they suddenly disappear, then turn around. And then, worst case scenario, many of you already know this, but the Bikes to You shop has a retail store in every overnight town, and that that the campground store will know exactly where the charter is. And like I said, Kyle is going to send out electronic maps to you ahead of time. So we haven't had a problem with signage and maps the last couple of years to speak of.
I will be sending those out using a program called Ride with GPS. So if you want, I will create a page that you'll be able to download those maps to your phone. So please do that before you get out on RAGBRAI. Cell phone service is spotty at best on RAGBRAI because there are so many people out there. If you want to be able to have the map on your phone, make sure you do that before you arrive for RAGBRAI. But that system, I actually used that on a ride that I ran in Des Moines a couple months ago. It worked really, really well. The people who had the app really enjoyed having that, and they were able to follow the map right to all of the different locations they were riding to.
Yep. If anybody has any questions about, what happens kind of on a daily basis or riding, we'd sure like you to type those into the question or chat bar online with us. There's no dumb question. It helps other folks out. So don't feel like there's any questions. And we'll kind of move on about getting home.
So at the end of the ride, if you are leaving early, please inform me, Kyle, because basically what happens is I have a list of everybody that's going to be on the bus going out. I got a list of everybody that's going to be on the bus coming back. If you leave early, I want to know, because otherwise I'm going to be sitting in Muscatine calling you going, where are you? And for the expediency of everything, please just make sure that you let me know that you're leaving, so I know exactly how many people are going to be on the bus and who's going to be on the bus. The signage will start after the dip site. So this is the way we've always done it. It seems to work pretty darn well. If you don't want to wait in line to dip your front tire in the water, ride to the dip site and then turn around, and you'll probably start seeing our signs. We will be staying at, or our buses will be picking everybody up at the community college. I'm not exactly sure where on the community college campus yet. That is still being figured out. But when I know that, of course, it'll be in the maps that you guys all receive. So you'll ride your bike there, and then we will load up, kind of like we do for loading up to head out to the beginning. The charter buses will leave at 3 p.m. So please make sure that that you get there in time. This has never really been a problem in the past. We always say that we've never left a sober person in the end town.
And that's that's true. Go ahead.
We may send a bus home early if it is full, depending on when riders arrive, things like that. However, the semi will not leave until 3. So even if you do get out of there, I mean, if everybody's super fast and people are in and we can send a bus back by 1:30, great, but your bikes aren't going to arrive until 3. So if you get back to Grinnell early, go have a nice dinner, enjoy one of our restaurants, take a little walk, but the bikes will get there as soon as we can.
On shipping your bikes home, there's a couple of ways that you can do this. So High Country Shipping is at the end of the ride. Harper Cycling and Fitness does the boxing over there, and you can literally dip your wheel, walk over to Harper's, hand them your bike, and ship your bike home right there from the end if you prefer. We do pack bikes back at the shop early in the week. We'll keep if you have a shipping container or a bike box, we'll keep that with us throughout the week. If we ship it, we ship out through a company called Total Choice Shipping. They do great service. They're not the most economical. if you have a UPS account or a FedEx account and you want to send us a call tag, that's probably less expensive for you, and you certainly can email that over to us. We will pack bikes in flying cases as well on that Saturday. So if you're flying out on Sunday, let us know, and we'll be sure to get those bikes priority and packed. We do charge $45 to pack bicycles. The assembly is part of the charter service at the beginning of the week, but boxing is an additional charge. Okay. We offer airport shuttle to and from Des Moines on. We have a shuttle Saturday night, but please do not fly out Saturday night. There's just no absolute guarantee that you're gonna do that. We are up very, very early on Sunday morning almost every year and have people to the airport at a ridiculous early time, so we can accommodate those. We just need to know your flight schedule, and if you've paid for airport shuttle service, we will make sure that you get to the airport in time to get on your plane.
Here is my contact info. If you haven't gotten that already, my cell phone number and my email address. And if you got any further questions, please type them in. Email me or call me. We're looking forward to having another great year. Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. We got a great group of people again. I'm super excited, and we'll.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to speak to that. One of the things that we do have this year is we've got some new faces on our team that will be out there. We just had a little turnover, young people that are going off and doing internships and what have you. So we've got some new folks with us, a couple of new adults that are helping us out, which I think will lend a little more organization to the scenario sometimes. I like I said earlier, I think that this is probably going to be one of the most interesting RAGBRAIs that we've had in a long time. It's they're smaller towns. The folks are really interested in rolling out the hospitality. We haven't been in a lot of these towns in a long time. I don't even know if we've ever been in Leon. And I'm going to tell you, Leon is small. But at any rate, please feel free to type in any questions. We'll probably hang out here for the next, however long we need to, but certainly next 4 or 5 minutes to see if anybody comes up with anything. We'd be happy to answer those. And like I said, thanks a lot for joining the Bikes to You Charter. Oh, I've got to point out, Kyle will not be here on the Friday and Saturday of the start of RAGBRAI.
It's true.
So there's going to be a surrogate Kyle. Her name is Kate Baumgartner. Kate's been an employee of Bikes to You several years ago. She's worked with the charter. She's worked in the retail store, and she's going to fill in for the first Friday and Saturday. Kyle's going to be at a wedding. He's the best man in a buddy's wedding.
Just Friday.
Just Friday. Okay.
No, Saturday. Yeah, I'll get there. I will be in Glenwood at some point.
Yeah, there you go. At any rate, so Kate will be helping kind of fill Kyle's shoes. I've threatened to clip a mullet on her short hair, but at any rate, we're going to have a good time this year, and I'll certainly be here on Friday and Saturday, and everything should go swimmingly. So if you have any questions, please shoot them out there. We're not really seeing anything, but other than that, I think we're going to be done with our little webinar.
So David apparently the questions weren't actually popping up in our screen. We just discovered them. David Carlson, if you're still on, you asked something about Ziploc sleeping bags, not Ziploc sleeping bags, Ziploc bags for packing your clothing in.
Yeah. And you can put your sleeping bag in a garbage bag if you want to help keep it dry.
Yeah.
That would be a good answer. The tent service does not provide sleeping bags. We would encourage you to bring your own, your own sleeping. We tried that a few years ago using some rentals from the college, and quite honestly, they were less than clean. And that's a great question from Lisa Weaver about should bags be tagged in any specific way? Yes, they should be. We want your name on each bag, and we have a very simple method of identifying your bag. We have some orange construction tape that we put on everybody's bag and everybody's bike. It's just a little very kind of quick way for us to identify whose stuff is with our charter. But we want your name and information on there, and then we put our construction tape on there. Let's see. We've already addressed that. There'll be questions about charging stations for phones. Yes. What about perishable food? We don't want you to bring perishable food. We don't have any method to take care of that. Unfortunately, that's just not something that we can do. We obviously worry about foodborne illnesses in the cooler, and so we just don't carry perishable foods. When we talk about nutritionals, we want you to bring prepackaged Cliff bars, Luna bars, what have you.
So one thing I will say about the perishable food, sometimes people ask to have things purchased. We do have a grocery list that we go out, we get stuff on a daily basis. If you ask for something that is perishable, please make sure that it has been consumed by the end of the day. If I open a cooler in the morning and I find that there is some milk in it, I will throw it out. I will throw out things that are sour cream based. Please do not, if you want something that's going to have something like that in it, make sure you consume it within the day that it is purchased. We just don't want to run that risk. I will say something that some people really like having is chocolate milk. I would really encourage you. There's some newer stuff I actually just had some. It was from Organic Valley. It's an aseptic chocolate milk. It is processed in a highly sterile environment, and therefore it does not actually have to be refrigerated. So if you're wanting to do something like that, by all means, please do that. I will see that those are aseptic and that they can survive not being refrigerated, and that's totally fine. But please don't bring any sour cream dip or something like that and think it's going to last you half the week.
I apologize for not seeing the question marks. We just didn't have the right screen open here. Looks like, what's this one right here? Can we go there? Somebody asked, do we recommend using a Camelback versus water bottles? Absolutely. If you have a Camelback and you're accustomed to using that, I don't think it's overkill to have a Camelback with you, especially this year with, just with the sparseness of towns. 100 ounces of that is what the equivalent of 4 big bottles. So, that's a pretty good way to go. Looks like Keith Harmon had a question.
Yep. Keith, you were wondering about what time we anticipated arriving in Glenwood. I think we should be there about noon or maybe 1 o'clock. It kind of depends on this. We will be doing some type of a food stop. So we'll be there early afternoon was
I
what
would
I would
say
say.
12, yeah, 12:30.
Yeah.
The expo is promising to be a pretty nice thing this year, and we'll get you there in plenty of time so that you can go.
Lisa asked, what is TYR? TYR is a sports drink that was, unlike Gatorade and Powerade, they actually looked at what do athletes need while they are being physically active, and then they formulated a sports drink around that. Unfortunately, things like Gatorade and Powerade have gone to using cheaper sugars that actually don't help you while you're riding. So TYR has done a really good job of responding to that, and producing something that your body will be able to use and while you're out riding.
Electrolyte tablets, how many do you suggest per day? Did you just address that? Or Well, so here's what I'm going to say. Most of those are, one tablet per 24 ounce or larger bottle. You're going to go through a lot of bottles of water. I don't think it's unheard of to say that, you might use 6 or 8 of those over the course of a day, depending on how much you drink. I have to say that I've used electrolyte tablets more often to subdue the awful taste of some Iowa water than I have necessarily craving electrolytes. But it's certainly not bad for you. So and like I said, we're going to have a ton of that stuff for sale on the ride too. But it doesn't hurt to stock up and bring some of that as well. There's a question: are there a lot of packed gravel roads on the trip this year? Actually, there is. Only from pre-ride, there is just one section of gravel that goes into. I'm going to draw a blank here, and I want to say Prestige, Iowa. I don't even know if that's it, but it's one of the small towns before Creston. You have to ride gravel to get into the town. It's probably less than half a mile. There is a gravel loop this year. I did ride the gravel loop with 4 of my other pre-ride folks. It was very, very loose gravel for the first 5 miles. I will say this, of the 18-mile gravel loop, like 2.5 is seal coat, 11 is gravel, and 7 is concrete. So that constitutes the 18-mile loop. I encourage the local county engineers to not grade that gravel so that we didn't have a bunch of loose gravel on the route. We prefer it to be packed, but the only true gravel that you cannot get around is this little short section going into, and like I said, I keep wanting to say Prestige, but I'm not sure that's the name of it. Someone asked about that their knee acted up, and should I make SAG plans ahead of time? So that begs the question: if you are injured and cannot ride a day, if you would see Kyle the night before, we will do everything in our power to help find a SAG ride to the next town. If it comes the next morning, it gets really difficult because, of course, accommodations have been made, people are leaving, we do have some capacity should you need a ride to the next overnight town. Now, that said, if you get out on the ride, there is SAG service from the Des Moines Register. And as much as I love my colleagues at the Register, they're great people. Waiting on the SAG wagon on RAGBRAI just plain stinks. Yep. And it's just no fun. It never comes, and then you're on it forever. And that SAG is a SAG of last resort, I would say. Now, if you have problems on the ride, you should go to the first aid station and ask where, in each town, where the SAG might be or might pick up, and they will know that. So at any rate, that's the kind of the answer about the sag. We do sell mirrors. We've got lots of them. We're going to have someone ask that question. Why is Kyle friends with someone who's getting married during RAG? Exactly. I said, did this bride not know that my ride of the year was going on? I said, I gave him a lot. Somebody asked that, but at any rate, that's kind of the big question was what the heck was she thinking? At any rate, let's see if we can go through some. Are there any more of these? Okay, I'm getting a bike tune-up before. Comment again on the value of sizing up tires. Okay, we had somebody again ask about sizing up tires, and I just want to reiterate that if you're currently riding a 700 by 23 tire and your bike is able to accommodate a 25 or a 28, I recommend that. A higher profile tire is going to serve you well on these roads. If you're riding a 25, see if you can go to a 28. There's some great 700 by 28 tires made. It used to be that they didn't do something that was quite as high performance in 28s, and now we've got Continentals. We've got good high pressure tires, Continentals and surface tires that are in 700 by 28s that work really, really well. At any rate, that's my recommendation, is that if you can size up and know that I'm going to have tires out there. I take everything but the kitchen sink with me. So we'll have, if you somehow want to do that, you can call on our expertise to nail that down. I think it's at the bottom of the questions. I hope we got everybody's questions there. There's going to be some special things on the ride this year. I know some of the folks have left us, but there's going to be a mile of silence. Many of you have probably seen about that. That is going to occur, I think, on the first day for the folks in Kalamazoo. Two of those Kalamazoo riders that were killed were part of the Team Whiners, or had been part of Team Whiners out of Michigan. And they're part of the RAGBRAI family. Not to mention, we've had some pretty high-profile situations here in central Iowa the last couple of, in the last year. And so it's kind of near and dear to TJ and all of us in the RAGBRAI family, and so he decided to do that, and I commend him on that. I guess that's all that I've got for now, and if we don't see any other questions, Kyle, do you have anything else you want to add?
Will Trump or Hillary be there? I hope not.
Yeah. By the way, one of our RAGBRAI shirts we submitted to the register was RAGBRAI Make America Great Again, and
that got rejected.
It got rejected. Apparently, Trump has that copyrighted, so we weren't able to do that just because I thought it would be a fun tongue-in-cheek thing, but. Yeah, I think the good news is you'll have a week away from politics when you're in Southern Iowa. So that's that's. I also wanted. I shouldn't. This is kind of a little bit belittling, but I joked on pre-ride that my definition of clean eating has changed pretty dramatically since pre-ride. When you have to clean eat out of a Casey's store, you know that you're in trouble, because that was some of the cleanest eating that we had for the week. It seemed like we had lots of fried chicken and lots of mashed potatoes and all that kind of stuff. But at any rate, I don't want to belittle Southern Iowa too much. But at any rate, all right. Well, if you have any more questions, please, shoot them by email to Kyle, and or there's his cell phone number, and he's at your service.